Hey, Columbus Crew fans, Jordan Angeli here, and we have a very special guest today from Nationwide Children's Hospital. We have Dr. Parker Huston. How are you, Doc?
I'm doing great today, Jordan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to chat with you. First off, can you introduce yourself to everybody and let everyone know what you do over at Nationwide Children's Hospital?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a pediatric psychologist, so I focus on working with kids who have some sort of combined, maybe mental health, behavioral, and medical challenges going on in their life. And so there's a whole team of us over there, and we cut across pretty much every discipline in the whole hospital and work with lots of patients and families. But I also have the privilege of being one of the ambassadors for the On Our Sleeves program for Nationwide Children's as well. So I get to do really cool things like this and talk to you guys about it.
Yes, On Our Sleeves is such a good movement. And May right now is Mental Health Awareness Month. And Nationwide Children's Hospital, which you didn't mention, is it's the largest pediatric behavioral research hospital in the nation, which is so cool. It's right in our backyard. And you just said the crew are actively teaming up with you guys doing this On Our Sleeves movement, which is amazing. Why is it so important for families to talk and understand mental health at a young age?
Well, there are several reasons. I would say the biggest reason is that setting good habits early in life makes them more easy to do when you get older and older. And so if we can focus on keeping ourselves well, both physically and mentally early in life, that'll help us as we go down the line to keep those things going and keep ourselves feeling great.
One of the things that I'm sure is going to come up is parents are going to say, well, how do I get the conversation started, right? What kind of tips can you give to parents who are interested in talking about the various aspects of mental health to their kids?
That's the whole point of the On Our Sleeves movement in the first place. Is we really wanted to start off by, at first it was a social media movement of let's just hashtag On Our Sleeves and just start talking about mental health in the pediatric population. And fortunately what it's turned into is something much bigger, which is a full-fledged movement of trying to bring a spotlight to the fact that these conversations are difficult, but there are ways to have them and ways to make them productive, really starting at the earliest stages that children can have conversations with their parents. So what we try and provide on the website onoursleeves.org is a lot of different resources. Everything's free and available to the public to download, or there's lots of activities to do. And there's plenty of prompts there for how should I talk with my own children about this? What if I'm a teacher? How could I bring this into the classroom? What if I'm a grandparent or just a friend of someone who has children? What kind of questions could I ask and what kind of things could I discuss with them?
One of the things I really love about this is just the name itself, On Our Sleeves. Can you dive into that a little bit and tell why you guys named it that?
Yeah, uh, it was a great marketing campaign, I think, because uh, the reason we call it On Our Sleeves is that children might wear a lot of their thoughts and feelings and behaviors on their sleeve. We know when they're having a tough day, but what's harder for them to express is what they're feeling and what their thoughts are, especially early in life when they don't have the language, they don't have the understanding yet of what's the difference between sad and mad and depressed and scared. It all might look the same to us on the outside, but there's different emotions that are behind those. So trying to help kids learn how to properly name and express their emotions from an early age is something that we're really trying to promote.
So not only that, but giving tips to families as well about how to identify mental health concerns even, and resources. Those as well are available on the website onoursleeves.org.
Yes, absolutely. You can go there and there's a whole section on how to find help and how to locate resources. It goes across the United States. We're hoping to broaden it beyond that in the future, but for right now, you can click on the state you live in and you can find some of the main resources in your area. And then right here in Central Ohio, of course, we would like to think of Nationwide Children's Hospital as the hub for a lot of those needs. We cover a really wide area around the Central Ohio region. And so you can always give us a call here at the hospital, and we can either find resources within what we provide, or sometimes we find something closer to home that might work really well for families.
Right. It's great, just the amount that you guys are giving away for free, the resources that you guys have. One of the things that really caught my eye, because this is something I personally try to practice daily, is this idea of gratitude as something that you can put into practice in your daily life, and it can really help transform just the way you think and on a mental level, but also it can help you physically. So I want to talk a little bit more about the idea of how gratitude can really be beneficial to you, but also we got to talk about this growing our gratitude worksheet and everything that goes along with that.
Yeah, that's our big push right now in May, which is, as you said, Mental Health Awareness Month, is we wanted to focus on something that not only seemed relevant at this time in the world, but something that can really be helpful at any stage in the future. And so growing our gratitude is a focus on one of the tenets of positive psychology, a certain field of psychology, which is the understanding that before any problems exist, or before we ever are talking about depression or anxiety as something that might need intervention or someone to see a counselor for, we can work on prevention through developing good habits, good thought patterns, good coping skills. And something as simple as focusing every day for 5 minutes on things that you're grateful for is shown to have lifelong benefits in mental health. There's a lifetime decrease in incidences of depression and anxiety for people who practice these strategies. There's a lower incidence of heart disease. There's increased activity level. There's increased social connectedness, because invariably you'll come across thoughts of people that you're thankful for, and then you'll want to connect with them even more than you might already. So as a method, it's actually a type of treatment that we might do for someone who's feeling like there isn't anything going on that's positive in their life. And to be honest, it's kind of hard to find those things right now when the news is filled with negativity and things that are not going well. So what we've created is this great packet of information that you can actually get on the website, the same honoursleeves.org, and it's all free. We'll send it to your house. We wish we could hand it to you in person and give you a high five, but maybe down the line we'll be able to do that. But it'll come with a lot of great things. It'll come with worksheets for you to fill out with your family. This is great for kids. I do it with my kids who are 7 and 4, and they've really enjoyed it. So there's prompts for discussion to talk about, conversation starters. It'll get parents thinking as well. And then we'll also send you some really nice cards that you can distribute. We've been riding bikes around the neighborhood and putting these in some of our friends' mailboxes, just saying, we're grateful for you, even though we can't spend time together like usual right now. And we'll also send you some of these seed packets. And this is actually the seed packet right here, this watering can. You put that in the ground and water it. And while you're growing your gratitude this spring, you'll be able to watch some flowers grow too.
It's so many things about that just make me smile and feel so thankful, because there are so many things that we can do. And I think that's what you're trying to teach people with this, right? We can control how we think in certain situations with our gratitude. And we've seen this from Columbus Crew players over the last few weeks, sharing their growing our gratitude worksheets online. And Hector said he was thankful for his mom's, he was grateful for his mom's cooking. And Vito said he was grateful for his girls. And to not take those things for granted, I think really allows you to almost change the shape of your heart, right? And see things a little bit differently. So I'm going on here and I'm getting that growing our gratitude. I'm having it delivered.
Good. Yeah, you should. And, we're really thankful for the Columbus Crew and honestly for Nationwide Insurance, who, they've given a lot of support for the hospital itself over the years, but recently they really made that partnership possible through sponsoring the jerseys for this season, which we are really, really excited about.
Yeah.
I know I'm ordering some for me and my kids for the season, but, having some of the players post things online and having them really engage in it is such a huge deal for us, and just makes us feel really great about that kind of partnership, and very thankful for what the crew are doing to help support this.
Yeah, I could say the feeling is very mutual. We feel very thankful that for the partnership as well. Mental health in general has become a more accepted topic in society and even sports over the last few years. So let's talk specifically athletes and youth soccer players. How can they benefit from working on their mental health, especially right now?
Yeah. You don't have to turn far in the media these days to hear about professional athletes, especially, who are thinking more and more about the mental aspects of performance. And there's a whole field of psychology called sports psychology that's focused on research and how to um, get people to perform at their peak. And so for kids, I think what they can start early is thinking through some of the aspects of the mental part of whatever sport or activity they're doing that contribute to good performance. And they can look at people they admire in their own field or in their own sport. They can also look up books and research online about, what are certain things I should focus on. I think basketball is probably one of the most famous ones because, you got the image of someone standing at the free throw line, but I'd like to say that standing at the PK line for, a soccer player and a goalie are probably analogous to that, where,
Right.
You have to be able to calm yourself. There's, we call it the inverse U curve, where if you're not excited enough, then you're not going to perform well that day. But if you're overly excited and overly nervous, you're probably also not going to perform that day. So people have to learn, where's my peak level of excitedness and adrenaline, and I want to be ready to go, but I don't want to be too ready to go, and I don't want to calm myself down too much so that I'm just lounging around on the field that day. So focusing on those things can be really helpful.
Yeah, a lot of reflection, it sounds like, is reflecting on your specific game. And one of the things I thought about of asking you was this idea of the ups and downs, even within a game, right? If picture yourself as a forward and you missed a shot, well, you might be down, right? It was a sitter or something right in front of the goal. That might be a down moment, and being able to control that with also a few minutes later, you could have a high moment where something went really well.
Mm-hmm.
How does understanding that and being able to reflect back on that has to be something that can benefit athletes to perform better?
Yeah, absolutely. Using some of these mental strategies, we call it emotion regulation, which is the idea that, when something undesirable happens, you don't want that to bring you down so far that you can't focus on the game. We also see people where, we watch them celebrate a little bit too early, and we think you're kind of getting out of your game now, and there's still 70 minutes left after you've scored this goal that you've got to keep playing. So we have to be able to keep ourselves in a normal range of, being a little disappointed about something where you perform poorly, but also able to quickly bring yourself back into that optimum level of performance. So letting things pass, letting things wash over, a bad performance, even a bad day or a bad week, you have to be able to be grateful for an opportunity to keep playing. You have to be able to understand that you'll have other opportunities, and that self-improvement is one of the hallmarks of athletics in general. So
Yeah.
if you're not there to improve on your mistakes and reflect on them, you're probably not going to get very far in whatever sport you choose to play.
Right. And everything you're saying, I love, because I think that these kids are at such an advantage to be able to talk about this right now in their young lives, that if no matter what, if they become a professional athlete or if they become a professional in any other field, right, these are going to be tools that they can use throughout the entirety of their life. And as a former pro myself, as a former pro soccer player myself, I feel like I learned these a little late, and I wish I would have known that before. So these resources that you guys have with Nationwide Children's Hospital and the On Our Sleeves campaign is just incredible. And I would say to anybody who can get on the internet and go check it out, because it is wonderful. Going back to what's happening right now, right? This is a pandemic in our world that none of us have ever experienced. And one of the last things I wanted to ask from you is, what are some pointers or some tips that you can give to people who might feel like they don't know how to cope with this extra anxiety or potentially some extra stress that might be popping up right now?
Yeah, that's one of the most common questions that we're getting right now in the line of work that I'm in. Uh, I would say the first thing that I always talk with people about these days is finding a new routine. And I don't necessarily want to call it a new normal, because hopefully this isn't our new normal. It's a temporary routine that we have to find for ourselves. And so we're all thrown off in some way. Kids are obviously disrupted with their socialization and school and activities, and people are missing out on a lot right now. Adults, for obvious reasons, are really struggling to find a new routine. But my biggest piece of advice is to, first of all, make some structure to your day so that you have your list of to-dos and your list of activities you need to accomplish, and also work in there some enjoyment time and some exercise time. Whether it's mental exercise, physical exercise, indoor, outdoor, jumping jacks in your kitchen with your kids, any way to keep your body moving and keep your brain activated when we're missing out on some of our normal activities. Those are things that will really help. And then furthermore, I think having frequent check-ins as a family, or if you're living alone, I think having some frequent check-ins with people who live across the country, or your family members who live nearby, or your friends and neighbors that you would call your close social circle. Those are all really important, just to say, how are we? What are we up to? How are we all feeling? What's been difficult? What's been going really well? Obviously, if you can fold in some gratitude and some positive thoughts to those conversations, that will benefit everybody. And if you can be the leader of that conversation, all the better.
Right.
So I think those are probably the most common recommendations that I have.
Those are amazing tips. And that was one of the things I was going to ask you to end our conversation is, how does exercise help or benefit overall health? And I just want to share a story before we go into that. I was on a walk yesterday, and I saw a family on their walk, and they were playing follow the leader, and they were doing all these fun little things. So you can make exercise also a fun activity as well. So I just thought that was super cute.
Yeah.
And kind of with the same vein of what we're talking about right now.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the research out there on the benefits of exercise for mental health is vast. We've known that for years and years, that exercising benefits us. The cardiovascular and physical aspect of things impacts your mental well-being, but also just the act of getting your body moving and releasing some endorphins into your brain, and releasing some of those neurotransmitters that help us feel good about our day. We're not getting those as naturally, especially on rainy days, and we've had this cold snap here lately that's a little unseasonable. But any way that you can get your blood pumping and your heart moving a little bit quicker will benefit you in lots of different ways. And I think, as the story that you mentioned, I think some of the best stories that I've heard are ways that people are getting involved with their family.
Mm-hmm.
You can get online and find family exercise videos for free on YouTube. Yesterday in the sunshine, I made an obstacle course in my backyard with just random stuff around the house that I would time my kids and see how quickly they could do it. And of course, they made me crawl under all the things and do the dizzy bat race. And
it's only right.
Exactly. They wanted to see if I could win, and they had to kick a goal to after doing a dizzy bat to finish it. But really, just being creative at this point when we don't have organized sports is one of the hardest things. So I just advise, especially parents, don't only think of your own exercise, but think of your kids' exercise and how are they getting their energy out and keeping their body moving.
Dr. Houston, I cannot thank you enough. This has been such a great conversation, so insightful. And I just want to direct everybody once again to onoursleeves.org. And you can get a link to that on columbuscrewsc.com as well. Just thank you. We're thankful for everybody over at Nationwide Children's Hospital as well for all of the hard work you guys are not only putting in right now, but you have put in and you will put in. We're super grateful for you guys.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks again for having me, and go Crew.
Go Crew is right. Thanks, Doctor.